Today we will be solving inequalities. The major difference between inequalities and equations is that we have the two symbols, less than, equal to, greater than equal to. The only difference is if we divide or multiply by a negative number, then we must flip the inequality sign the opposite direction and then continue to solve. So let's take a look at some examples. Negative 2x minus 4 is greater than 8. We're going to solve this the normal way we solve an equation. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides, which gives me negative 2x is greater than 12. Then I'm going to divide by negative 2, which gives me x. I'm dividing by a negative, so I must flip the inequality sign, is less than negative 6. This is my final answer. I also must be able to graph this inequality. So I'm going to draw my number line, arrows on the ends, place a negative 6 on my number line. Because it is less than, it is an open dot, and the arrow points to the left, so I'm going to shade to the left. Let's take a look at another example. Negative 5x plus 8 less than or equal to negative 2x plus 23. First step, just like an inequality, I'm going to solve. I'm going to add 5x to both sides because that'll keep my x's positive. That becomes 8 less than or equal to 3x plus 23. In continuing to solve, I'm going to subtract 23 from both sides, which gives me 3x is greater than or equal to a negative 15. Divide both sides by 3. I'm dividing by a positive 3, which means I do not flip the sign because I'm dividing by positive 3, which is not negative. So x is greater than or equal to negative 5. The easiest way to graph is to put the variable in front. So I'm going to move the x in front, keep the sign facing the same direction. Keep the sign facing the same direction as the x, so greater than or equal to negative 5. Then I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to place a negative 5 on there. Because it is equal to, I'm going to put a closed dot shaded in. And the arrow points to the right, so I'm going to shade to the right because it's all numbers greater than or equal to negative 5. Let's take a look at an example. This one involves the distributive property. Here, I'm going to first have to take negative 3 and distribute it to every place within side. So 6, negative 3 times x is a negative 3x. Negative 3 times 2 is a negative 6, greater than 15. Combine like terms, 6 and a minus 6 cancels. So I have negative 3x is greater than 15. Divide both sides by a negative 3. Since I'm dividing by a negative, I must flip the sign. So x is greater than changes to x is less than negative 5. Again, draw my line. Place on there a negative 5. It is an open dot because it's not equal to. Since the arrow is pointing to the left, I shade to the left. Everything less than negative 5.